Have you guys heard about the Black Sox scandal in baseball? With the World Series going on currently, let's talk about the World Series that was fixed. It's the 1919 World Series, and it's the Cincinnati Reds against the Chicago White Sox. The White Sox here are the best team in baseball and are heavy favorites to win the World Series. You gotta realize something about baseball back then. Players had zero power. They couldn't request a trade, they had no union, and if they refused a contract from one team, they couldn't play for another. Lastly, to make matters worse, White Sox owner at the time, Charles Comiskey, was notorious for underpaying his players, and the players were sick of it. Alright, let's meet our 8 White Sox players who were involved in the scheme. And now, since this was 100 some years ago and everyone's dead, we got our pretend baseball field with our characters that I printed out. Number 1, leader of the plan, first baseman, Chick Gandel. He met with the gamblers and devised a plan to where they would throw the World Series in exchange for $80,000. You got pitcher Eddie Ciotti, pitcher Clyde Lefty Williams, Fred McMullen, who was a bench player, utility infielder, so we'll put him right off to the side. Third baseman, George Buck Weaver, Charles Swede Reisberg, shortstop, Oscar Happy Felsch, center fielder, and lastly, Shoeless Joe Jackson, star player in left field. Also, why does every early 1900s baseball player have some type of nickname? Game 1 started with pitcher Eddie Ciotti hitting the first Reds batter he faced, a signal to the gamblers that the fix was on. Now, after Game 5, White Sox players were pretty upset. They had yet to receive any money at all, even though the Reds had a commanding lead in the series. They decided to double-cross the gamblers and try and win the series. They ended up winning Game 6 and 7. With Game 8 about to start and the White Sox on the verge of tying up the series, our pal lefty, Clyde Williams, was on the mound. Now the gamblers were getting worried, so they sent one of their goons and threatened his family if he did not lose Game 8 and win the series for the Reds. Clyde here got worried, and the Cincinnati Reds easily won Game 8, winning the World Series. But it wasn't until almost a year later that things really started to take a turn for the worse for our 8 that were involved in the fix. After rumors swirled for an entire season, the US government got involved and indicted all 8 players on conspiracy to defraud. Now, all 8 players stood trial, but were somehow found innocent. But that didn't matter. Kennesaw Mountain Landis. What an awesome name. He was the newly appointed commissioner for baseball, and baseball had a gambling problem. His main goal was to clean up baseball. So he didn't care that all 8 of these players were found innocent in the court of law. He still banned all 8 from baseball for life, including Shoeless Joe Jackson. And while he was rumored to be a part of the plan, many people believe he was wrongly accused. If you want to learn more about Shoeless Joe Jackson and whether he's actually innocent or guilty, follow along. That will be our next week's video.